Welcome everybody to our TBH, To Be Honest, Mastermind podcast. Today I've got someone who I've been in my life for a long time now. I've got the lovely Rachel Oates. And Rachel, tell us all about yourself.
Oh gosh, that's a lot to be telling you. How long have we got on these podcasts? So I'm Rachel Oates, and I work for the Community Foundation for Calderdale, and I absolutely love it because I'm in charge of getting the money in so that we can give it out to all of the charities in Calderdale.
That's a worthy cause. And how did you end up in the charity world, in the third sector?
Um, I organise the Community Spirit Awards for them. So that's like Charity of the Year, Volunteer of the Year. That was in the November. December, they said, we need you in our business 2 days a week. And then in the following February, we were flooded. And I don't know if you know, but the Community Foundation are known as the Flood Charity, or they were before I got involved. And then the month after, we went into lockdown. So we helped give out all of the national emergency trusts, all the food parcels, etc. And so that was 2020, and I've been there ever since. I love it.
What were you doing before 2020?
So I'd been self-employed for over a decade. I've always been in business and marketing. I've been agency side, client side, and then I took the leap and I went self-employed doing marketing, and I loved it because I had a range of different clients. I had some one corporate client every month, so that made sure that the mortgage was paid, the bills were paid, I'd got some money. Then I'd got a couple of SMEs, which I probably didn't charge the amount I should have done, but I enjoyed working with them, and that enabled me to also then work with charities, which I absolutely loved. So that's what I was doing before.
So you went from self-employed to getting a job. How did that feel? Going from all that security of having all your own time, and then you've got a boss, I guess.
Well, it was in lockdown, so I was only part time. I was only 4 days a week to start with. Well, 2 days a week, then 4 days a week, and lockdown was a very very different time. Um, And, a lot of people used to talk to me, especially relatives and well meaning friends, and say, you're self employed, oh, that's risky. And I used to say that my husband, who was employed, his was riskier because he'd only got one client and I'd got seven.
Fair
So
comparison.
if I lost one client, I'd got another six lots of income coming in. If he loses one client, he's not got any.
So true. So, what projects are you involved with? How do people sort of like tap into the community funding that you have?
Oh well, it's we manage funds on behalf of other organisations like the Department for Education. So we fund all of the healthy holidays projects for kids in the school holidays, and then we currently have one called Trailblazer or Accelerator. So that's getting people into work or keeping people in work. We have a general grants round. So any charities that are anything to do with housing, homelessness, poverty, disadvantage, social cohesion, which means bringing people together, old people, young people, physical health, mental health, environment, you name it, they can apply for those types of grants.
It's a broad brush.
Mm. Yeah,
Really.
well, our strapline, Paul, is that we connect people who care with causes that matter, and that's basically what I've been doing all my life. Whether it's
Excellent.
networking or building a business or sales and selling, it's just in a different matter. So I love it because we're connecting businesses, so they might be part of our membership scheme and our networking, but with the charities, with the public sector, the NHS, schools, police, fire as well. It's great.
And you are a great connector. I think we met through networking many, many years ago. Well, not that many, because obviously you're only 21, but many years ago, and you always were a great connector. And if you don't mind me saying, you seem interested in them rather than
Mm,
talk about yourself. So I know today's podcast is not always easy for you to talk about yourself. So,
Well, when I
so
first started networking, I was absolutely petrified. I shook like a leaf the first time that I went there. And when I stood up and did my 60 seconds, I didn't know who was going next. I didn't know the rhythm to it. I didn't know it was alphabetical. Never mind know everyone's names. And I messed up the first time I did it. So the second time I took a piece of paper. Well, that was even worse because then I shook and the paper shook and everyone laughed at me. And I just thought, right, this, as a marketeer, you've got to take this seriously. If I was doing an email campaign or a social media campaign, what would I do to strengthen my skill set in that piece of marketing activity? And in order to go networking, my top tip was just don't go thinking about selling yourself. Go thinking, how can you find out about other people and help them? Because that's how relationships form.
absolutely, absolutely. So in the what do I call it? The community foundation. What should I
Yeah,
call it? Yeah.
community foundation.
How big's the team that you work with? Is it a small team, a large team?
This is a really good question because last year we gave out 3.2 million. We've
Mm,
got a total staff team of 10.
wow.
Mostly part time. We've only got 3 full time members of staff.
Hmm.
So it won't be a surprise to you to know that we have lots of volunteers.
Good.
And other staff members have been known to have a little poke at me because if anyone ever says, "Oh, if you ever need me to volunteer," and I'm like, "I've got an Excel spreadsheet. Do you want to choose one? Do you want to choose a role?" There's always jobs to be done at, isn't there? But I think that the Calderdale Community Foundation in particular are known for doing an incredible amount of work
Hmm.
with very few paid members of staff.
So if people hear this and they want to volunteer, do they just reach out to you on LinkedIn, or how do they get hold of you?
Yeah, just reach out to me on LinkedIn or email Rachel, which is Rachel at cffc.co.uk. And what I tend to do is I have a chat with them about what they want to do, what they're looking for. It might be that they want to develop their leadership roles or teamwork roles or admin roles or event organising roles. Whatever it is, they can help.
So you've got a nice team around you. It's a good size, is that?
Yeah, yeah.
It's a good size. So what events have you got coming up, or what things have you got going on in the next sort of like 12 months? Is there anything that's significant happening?
Well, it's our 35th anniversary next year.
Congratulations.
Yeah, well, we're one of the oldest community foundations. We set up a lot before a lot of the other community foundations in the UK. Um, and next year we've got our Community Spirit Awards, and
Hmm.
those celebrate charities, young people, volunteers of the year. And before we've held it at the venue at Barkisland, but it's been too small. You can only fit 415 people in.
Wow.
So this next year we're very excited because on the 17th of April 2026, we're going to be holding it at the Victoria Theatre.
Wow.
So it promises to be bigger and better than ever before. So that's the main thing. We have a membership event coming up on the 11th of November, and that's about housing.
Hmm.
We've got our AGM in December, and that's at Mythenroy Community Centre, and we'll be celebrating 10 years since the floods, since Storm Eva. And, you know, the work that the Community Foundation and volunteers did was phenomenal. They just acted so quickly. So we'll be celebrating all the good work and all the good that's actually come from that.
How do you connect to businesses in the community? What happens there?
Well, it's not really rocket science. I post things on LinkedIn and my connections share them or comment, and obviously that gets viewed then by their connections. And I think that people want to be part of the community foundation because they want to be part of a group of people doing something greater than if they were just doing it them by themselves. And I think that they see the power in, if they chose to have a charity of the year for 1 year, that might benefit, but by being a member, and that starts at £120 a year,
Hmm.
100% of that money goes out as grants and we match fund it. But it's a long-term relationship so that we'll introduce them to our connections and vice versa. And I think that they see the value that we feed back, the impact that they're having on that community, and they can also choose which theme that they're interested in as well. And we do things from giving them reports. I've started actually doing a little video summarising the report and putting a QR code on the front and basically saying, if you can't be bothered to read the report, scan the QR code and watch the video. That's increased the number of my reports have been read. And we also do little tours as well, and we go actually see projects, and those are really successful. So I think that that's what keeps businesses engaged, and it helps spread the word.
So in your 5 or 6 year tenure, which project have you had any projects that particularly stand out that you're proud of, or that you think have impacted so much?
I love the Community Spirit Awards. I think that that is like a social calendar of the year event, and it's just heartwarming. I'll be dead honest with you. When the nominations come in and I start formatting them and getting them ready to send to the judges, I sit down with a box of tissues at the side of me, because some of the work that people do, especially young people, and they don't do it for reward or recognition, they just do it because it's the right thing to do. That is incredible. But I think that one of the things that I'm going to be the most proud of is I've been quite innovative with the way that we are attracting funds. And I started talking to social value managers from large construction companies that bid for public sector contracts, because we can manage that fund for them. And I'm really proud of a piece of work that we've done. And I created like a summary of a report, and it tells people about all the positive things happening in Calderdale and all the areas of concern, so that people can flick through this summary of this report in a little booklet. And if there's something that particularly appeals to them, then we can set up a fund and we can start tackling that together, and we'll be able to measure the impact of that as well. So I think that hopefully in 6 months' time, that will be one of the most commercial things that I'm proud of.
So anybody that's been on my podcast will know I always just I have a little advert break now, and I want to dig a little bit deeper into Rachel Oates and who she really is. So I'm going to ask you some little questions. Just answer whatever comes to mind first.
Cool.
So what colour are you?
Sparkly silver.
Should have known that up here. Cats or dogs?
Cats all the way.
Cats all the way. Takeaway food, Indian or fish and chips?
I don't like fish and chips. I'd have to go Indian.
You would. Okay. Summer holiday or winter skiing?
Summer holiday.
Okay. Tea or coffee?
Tea. Sponsored by Yorkshire Tea.
This is really controversial now. Pineapple on your pizza or no pineapple?
Pineapple on the pizza, but I'd pick it off and eat it straight away. So both.
And if you could be a cartoon character, who would represent you?
Ooh. I can't think of one. An old 80s cartoon came to mind, but I can't, and they'd got long noses, and I always wanted to be one of them, but I can't remember what they're called.
Well, I'll leave that one there. And what was your favourite toy as a kid?
Cindy's.
Cindy's. Sparkly, Cindy's, and pineapple. Do you know, that is absolutely you. Do you have a question you want to ask me?
What are you excited about at the moment?
I'm really excited that I've been renovating a house for the last 2 years. And how sad is this? I've got new curtains coming on Friday. We've had 2 years without any curtains. So I've always had to come down, make sure I'm fully dressed. So I'm excited about my curtains. I'm really excited about having a big family Christmas here as well. So that's what I'm really excited about personally. Business-wise, I'm just in the middle of a revamp of my whole business. As you know, I have several strings to my bow, and people look at me and go, "Which one's this then, Paul?" So I'm bringing it all together. And I'm excited to launch both my new book, which will be out in the new year, called Feed Your Focus, Starve Your Distractions. That's a real, that's been 2 years in the making, is that book, and obviously launching that website. So that's what I'm excited about. Great question, though. Thank you for asking. Who's inspired you along your journey?
I think that you're going to expect me to say somebody like Oprah Winfrey or,
Whoever.
Michelle Obama. But yeah, for me, it probably, I've had a lot of really strong female idols, starting off with my English teacher at upper school called Ms. Toddy. And then in my first role, I had some role models, and they were women that just worked really hard and that they just got an amazing work ethic. And I think that somebody that I particularly admire in the literary world is a coach called Jen Sincero. I think that she really gets results. She's really good. But I like people, especially like Sylvie from Heiko, who has stayed with a company, and she's just worked her way up gradually, and she's really stamped a mark on the industry. And I think that that's difficult enough as it is, but especially when it's in a male-dominated world, that's particularly impressive.
So I know, Sylvie, and you talk about a male-dominated world. They do industrial cleaners, don't they? That's
Yeah.
it's not very glamorous, but she is absolutely smashed it. And as you know, I do the MC work, and I did a charity event recently, and they presented was a £5,000 check for the second year in a row. Absolutely so generous, and just a genuine person.
Mm.
I'm hoping to get Sylvie on here one day.
Oh, she'd be brilliant.
Yeah, I think she really would. So that's really interesting. Obviously, as with any small business, any foundation, what's the challenges you have, and what's the threats that's facing you in the current climate?
Um, I think that my top tip, even though I'm a words person rather than a figures person,
Mm-hmm.
is keeping a close eye constantly on the figures
Mm-hmm.
and planning for the worst.
Mm-hmm.
I think I was given a top tip ages ago, and it's about spending 20 minutes. If you've got a problem or a challenge, you spend 20 minutes and you've got to come up with 20 solutions in those 20 minutes. And apparently, like the first 15 to 17 are just probably things that you would have thought of. And it's the last three when you're under that time constraint. And I think that that's probably where this project going with the social value managers has gone, because if funds to manage is going to dry up, I've had to be innovative and think, right, well, where are we going to get money coming from in gifts, in wills, in membership, in sponsorship? And how can we manage other grants to get money coming in? So I think that the biggest challenge for people, some people might say the staff, the customers, the clients, I think the biggest challenge is being honest and realistic with yourself about the figures and having a plan B in place and not getting complacent. And then what was the other part of the question? Sorry, Paul.
What's the challenge you're facing within the foundation at the moment?
The challenge that we're facing is probably it's the cost of living crisis, but on acid. So if you earn 50 to £100,000, your spending will have gone down a certain percentage. Well, if you're a multimillionaire, the amount that you give out will have gone down a certain percentage as well. And I think that sometimes with the budget, that can affect us either in a positive way or a negative way. So sometimes people, for tax reasons, need to be creative about how and when they give us and donate money. But then in other areas, things like inheritance tax. So if people leave a gift in their will to a charity, that's going to automatically reduce their inheritance tax. So I think it's about, I know that positivity is a big strength of mine, but it's about sometimes being able to see the opportunity in the challenge.
So for that. That's a really great answer. You talk about those 20 answers in 20 minutes. Bear in mind, I'm nearly 1,000 years old now, Rachel. Back in the day, when I used to train a new salesperson, I used to have these packs of playing cards. If I play, they look like playing cards on the
Hmm.
front, and but they were blank cards. And the one thing I wanted them to do, I asked them in the next 90 days, I want you to come up with a reason why you shouldn't discount whatever we were selling. We were selling office furniture at the time. So in 90 days, I want you to fill out every card. And before you give a discount, I want a reason on there. So I called them Yubbut cards. And that was a great game. They all used to love it. And it's amazing how many. Look, you think, 52, you'll never get there. I've got 40 staff, and they all came up with, there's always something
Mm,
unique in there. You're right, that pressure of time is really key.
mm, mm.
Does AI affect you in any way?
It does, yes.
Hmm.
So, as an organisation, we've definitely seen an increase in people using AI to apply for grants.
Okay.
This can be negative because sometimes they don't put themselves across as
Hmm.
well as they themselves would because AI doesn't know them as well. But I think it's been quite a good leveler, and it's altered the game. It's been game changing for some organisations, especially if reading and writing is not their forte or English isn't their first language. So that's been good. I have been really interested in it from quite an early stage. And I have found it fascinating about learning how to engineer my prompts and improve those because
Hmm.
that has saved me a lot of money. And sometimes, you know, when there's a small team, it can be quite lonely. You've not got those people to bounce ideas off. If I was in like a large marketing or advertising agency, for example. So sometimes I've found it quite useful and I've got where I want to be quicker.
It was interesting. I was speaking with a gentleman called Simon Hartley earlier this week,
Hmm.
and Simon asked a question about AI. Everybody's talking about it. He says you need to treat AI as a member of your team.
Yeah,
You need to onboard them. You need to train them properly. You need to make sure that they understand,
yeah,
what we're asking them. So at that point, become a valuable member of your team. But if you just sort of like reactive and you leave them sat in the corner and don't use them properly, so that was his outlook on it. So that was quite an interesting way. Yeah, treat them as part of your team.
yeah,
Use their strengths when it's their time to shine, and that was quite an interesting for me. HI and AI, human intelligence and artificial intelligence, they absolutely have to go hand in hand.
yeah.
No, that's brilliant. So, talk to me about the future. Where's the future going with the foundation now?
Well, I'm really excited about the future. Some foundations and trusts and charities are either restructuring, stopping, etc. Not for us. I think that I've just got the blinkers on and I'm like, right, what's next for us? How can I get more money in? How can we distribute more funds? How can we make a bigger impact in our local community? So over the last 6 years, we've gone from giving out £890,000 to £3.2 million. That's a lot of lives. And when I first started, we had a saying of, do you want to have a small impact on a lot of people's lives or a big impact on a few? And we're continuing to do both.
Brilliant.
So, really exciting future, great awards coming up, innovative ways of getting the money in, and lots of positive things to look forward to.
Red, you've been absolutely brilliant tonight. So thank you very much, and it's always a pleasure. And I hope we can meet up again sometime in the near future. And thank you for coming along.
Thank you, and thanks for sharing about all your exciting things too. Take care.
Amazing. Thank you.